Welcome to Brattleboro's Town Matters podcast. This podcast is a brief update on what is happening in Brattleboro town government. I'm your host, Town Manager John Potter, broadcasting from the BCTV studios in Brattleboro, Vermont. Today we're going to look back at what happened at the February 4th Brattleboro Select Board meeting. Then we'll do a review of the agenda for the upcoming meeting on Tuesday, February 18th. Also, I'll go over a few announcements and the schedule for upcoming board meetings. So the board met on Tuesday, February 4th, and this is what happened. They had 7 items on a consent agenda, including application for a downtown transportation grant to do some work on Bridge Street, a parade permit for the Windham County Humane Society's Walk for Animals, the annual certification of highway mileage for the state, acceptance and appropriation of 3 grants, one for $20,080 for a Better Roads grant, one for $120,000 for a VTrans Town Highway Class 2 paving grant to do paving in town. And then the third one was for $200,000 to do work on town highway structures. And then finally on the consent agenda was approval of a limited event permit for Winston Prouty's Bingo Night, which will be on March 20th. And all 7 of those items passed on consent by a vote of 5-0. Under new business, there was the kickoff meeting for a utility rate study. This was a study that was discussed back in the spring of 24 when the select board did the utility budget. And now there is a consultant at New Gen Strategies on board, and they are starting this rate study. And they discussed the challenges facing water and sewer utilities. They talked about the principles for rate setting and rate design, and a rate that will work for 5 years, and then with a reset of rates for another 5, but still based on the same sort of plan that they will be working on. There was no motion or action taken on this item. It was just informational, but it was a good kickoff and a good start to that study. The second item under new business was a quarterly update on the Downtown Safety Action Plan at the request of the Select Board. Police Chief Norma Hardy and Assistant Police Chief Jeremy Evans entered the meeting, and they discussed a number of elements of the Downtown Safety Action Plan, including the BRAT team and how hiring and training has been going for that. Chief Hardy also talked about progress on the Transportation Center Police Substation and some of the duties that the BRAT team will be doing, including doing escorts for people to their cars if they wish. Also discussed by the board were collaboration with social services under the One Brattleboro umbrella that has been going on in conjunction with the development of the Downtown Safety Action Plan. There were questions about what the BRAT officers' uniforms will be like and several other items that were discussed around downtown safety. No motion was necessary for this item and no action was taken. The third item was a quarterly update from the fire department, and Assistant Chief Charles Keir and EMS Superintendent Billy Fritz joined the meeting and gave a report for the quarter prior to January, and they talked quite a bit about EMS billing. They discussed non-transports, expectations from Medicare, and the low response time that was reported in the data. They also discussed with the board how the fire department is funded and how the EMS billing is happening, and also finally what the status of the fire chief position recruitment is. There was also no motion on this. It was purely informational. And following the fire department quarterly update, the board heard a quarterly update from the finance department for fiscal year 25 through the second quarter. And Assistant Town Manager Patrick Moreland stepped in the absence of our having a finance director to give this update. There was discussion by the board around revenue and expenses. They talked about the utility and parking funds. They also talked about whether the financial reports should be monthly or quarterly, and seemed to be deciding that they wanted to continue with the quarterly updates, but perhaps with interim printed materials on a monthly basis. And then finally, finally, they heard some information around the FY24 audit. No motion was taken on that item. It was also informational. And that was what happened at the February 4th Select Board meeting. The next Select Board meeting is a regular meeting scheduled for Tuesday, February 18th at 6:15 p.m. in the Select Board meeting room at 230 Main Street. And this is what will be on the agenda. There will be an executive session starting at 5:15 p.m., but the regular meeting won't start until 6:15. On the consent agenda, there are 4 items. And I've just heard about a 5th that may get added, but let me see if I can do these 4 first. There will be a property assessment agreement for Witcher Properties LLC and seeking acceptance of that. There will be a approval of the assessor's certificate of no appeal for the grand list. There will be an approval for the annual contract renewal with the town attorney, and there will be approval of a $12,000 purchase related to a DPW bucket truck. The 5th item that I think will get added is a contract award for design services at the library for the grant that they got there recently. Those are the items that will likely be on consent for February 18th. Under business items, there will be 6 things. The first will be an update on the Bridge 54 project. That's the bridge in West Brattleboro on the Whetstone. And VTrans staff should be coming to that meeting to tell the board about value engineering that's happened on that project, as well as new budget numbers for the town. After that, there will be a discussion about the FY24, fiscal year 24 audit findings, followed by an item for potential authorization to spend $200,000 from the Global Warming Solutions Fund and allocating that for a project at the library, and that would be to put up solar panels on the roof. After that item, there will be information about a homestead property tax rebate information campaign that the communications coordinator has been working on. And then following that item, there will be a proposal coming to the board about putting historic signs on some of the town properties. And this is something that the Historical Society is bringing forward for consideration. And then finally, there is a public art request on the agenda from Hells Gibson to do a mural at the Harmony parking lot. So that is the agenda for February 18th. I have a few announcements. The Rec and Parks Department has a few new programs that will be starting in February, including indoor youth soccer and youth chess. Check out the news sections of brattleboro.gov for more details. Rec and Parks is also participating in the Winter Carnival, which kicks off on Friday, February 15th at Living Memorial Park. View the full schedule of events at brattleboro-wintercarnival.org. Finally, the voters may now request absentee ballots for the March 4th election, and that can be done through the state's My Voter page at mvp.vermont.gov or by contacting the town clerk's office. And as promised, I just wanted to let you know about some dates in March. The Select Board has a lot of meetings in March, and they're kind of moving all over the place, so jot these down. There will be a meeting on Monday, March 3rd, the day before the election, and that will be a joint meeting with the Hinsdale Select Board in Hinsdale. Talk about the bridges and the island at Island Park. The regular meeting, which had been scheduled for March 4th, Election Day, will be moved out to Thursday, March 6th, and will be a special meeting on that night. The Select Board will also have a special meeting on Monday, March 10th, to meet with the Brattleboro Legislative Delegation. There will be the Representative Town Meeting informational meeting on Wednesday, March 12th, and the Select Board's second regular meeting will be moved from the Tuesday out to Thursday, March 20th, so as not to interfere with the Windham School Board's meeting on the 18th. RTM will be on Saturday, March 22nd, and the final meeting that the Select Board will be at in March will be on Monday, March 24th, which will be the organizational meeting for the new Select Board. So there's your update on what's been happening in town government in Brattleboro. Please reach out to me at the town manager's office if you have any suggestions or want to discuss anything further. There's lots of additional information on the website, brattleboro.gov, about what's discussed at the select board meetings. So please check in there for agendas, reports, and backup materials. Appreciate all the listeners, and please check in again soon.